Hello trainers, Professor Palm here, and I'm guessing that you can all tell I am a bird lover. To me, bird Pokemon are my specialty. I love all kinds of birds, whether they be big birds, small birds, as long as there's a bird Pokemon, I'm always gonna catch it. In fact, I love bird Pokemon so much that I made up my own challenge, Birdbound. For those of you who don't know what it is, Birdbound is when you go on an adventure, but only capture bird Pokemon. While I love all sorts of bird Pokemon, even I'll admit that there are some regions that introduce bird Pokemon that I really don't like. And for the longest time, one of the lines that I really despised most of all were both Vullaby and Mandibuzz. For a very long time, I used to despise these Pokemon, not just because it was a hard trek to get Vullaby to evolve into Mandibuzz. I just felt that Mandibuzz didn't have that great of a payoff. It had a high defense and HP stat, but not really good in the speed, attack, or even special attack. Back in the day, like so many of you, I saw attack, special attack, and speed as everything. But as time's gone on and I've become a Pokemon professor, I learned that a great defense and HP stat are just as effective as a good offense. I guess when I look back at it, the first time that Mandibuzz and Vullaby changed my tune forever was none other than Pokémon Ultra Moon. These Pokemon were some of the greatest friends that I made. They were also a lot of fun to have for the journey, especially during the Necrozma battle. Oh geez, anyone who knows what I'm talking about, you know just how powerful that thing could be. This is where it showed me that sometimes the darkness and even defense go really well together. I gotta admit, Vulture Pokemon are an amazing idea. I'm surprised that we don't have very much more than just these two. Also, what makes these Pokemon so fascinating to me is the bones that they wear as armor. As a person who's really liked bones, it's kind of cool to see what they've done with it. Also, what makes these Pokemon such a standout is how violent and how dark they are. Did you know that these bones aren't only just from the bones that they've scavenged? They can also be trophies from other Pokemon that they've beat in the past. Look at that, already showing off how scary vultures can truly be. Sometimes we change our tune towards some Pokemon when we learn their amazing skills that they have hiding with them. Even the weirdest and even the grossest of Pokemon have something that make them unique from everyone else out there. No bones about that. Pardon the pun to both of you. But what I am trying to say is that these Pokemon have so many crazy skills that make them a cut above the rest, honestly. It kind of surprises me that there really aren't a lot of Dark-type or even Flying-type experts who use these Pokemon, because they'd be great for so many strategies for either a gym team or even an Elite Four team. You know what's something that's really cool about these Pokemon? It's that they're the only female of their kind. There are no male Mandibuzz. So how do they repopulate and how are there so many out there? Well, why don't we get into it? Let's learn a lot of things about Vullaby and Mandibuzz. These are some of the coolest flying types ever. However, before we begin, I just want to give a very special thanks and shout out to fellow subscriber, Puppy Sparkles. I hope that you enjoy this video to the fullest, Puppy Sparkles. You were the one that requested it, and I hope that you get to learn everything you want to know about these amazing Bone Vulture Pokemon. However, I have one other person that I'm going to thank. And of course, that goes to artist HTTP Koopa for making my jersey. This isn't any Dark-type jersey. This is Gym Leader Pierre's jersey. Since we're talking all about Dark-type Pokemon, and vultures oftentimes associate themselves with very dark matters, I couldn't think of a better shirt to wear than this one. If you really like the jerseys that I wear in my videos, you can buy them on Etsy. I have a link to HTTP Koopa's Etsy shop in the description below. Check them out, and remember to say, Professor Palm sent ya. Alright trainers, let's spread our wings and take flight. However, we're gonna go into the Badlands, as we're going bone collecting today. As our little chick here really loves getting bones, don't you, Vullaby? Okay, I think it's time that we start this. So, let's start off with the little bone vulture chick itself, Vullaby! Vullaby the diapered Pokemon is based on a vulture chick or hatchling. The bone armor that Vullaby wears is very similar to that of baby diapers, since Vullaby is just a baby. However, the bone armor is shaped like a human skull, as vulture chicks are known for playing with discarded bones. If you wish to find Vullaby, they live in the harsh Badlands where few other Pokemon can be found, and most of them are found living in big nests made by Mandibuzz. Oh, and when they can, they like to go exploring as they go hopping around the rocks at the canyons. As you can see, Vullaby have a pair of wings. However, it can't fly just yet as it must wait until its wings have developed more, as these Pokemon has some rather heavy bodies. And since it's at a playful age, it likes to hop around friskily, as these Pokemon love playing games. Because of being flightless, Vullaby like to explore on foot, as they're curious Pokemon and they really like to explore their surroundings. Usually, Vullaby stare at the sky, where they dream big of the day they finally will learn to fly and will soar ever higher into the big blue sky. The mother Mandibuzz not only will guard Vullaby with their lives, but also will give them bones to make their own armor. When the time comes, Vullaby are also taught by Mandibuzz how to hunt as well as catch prey. Since they are baby Pokemon, Vullaby often prey on weaker Pokemon. They really like eating Pokemon like bug type, but sometimes they also try to go for something bigger to show that they're ready for even more. It's hard to miss, but have you noticed that beautiful black coat worn by Vullaby? Well, these are very sensitive to the touch, as Vullaby do their best to keep them clean. Getting them dirty or even messed up ruffles their feathers. And because of this, they're the only ones that can clean their collar fuzz. If you try to clean it yourself, Vullaby will peck you and even fight you until you let go. Since it's only a baby, most predator Pokemon prey on Vullaby, as when its back is turned, that's when they strike. Some studies have shown that the most meat and fat is located towards its rear. So, in order for Vullaby to protect itself, it uses its diaper to protect its backside from predatory attacks. Like all baby Pokemon, Vullaby loves to eat and has a huge appetite. A healthy appetite leads to growth spurts, and because it has so many, this leads to Vullaby replacing its bones it wears as its size increases. These old bones are passed down from generation to generation. While it may be small, Vullaby's beak is extremely strong. Some of the bones that Vullaby wears are marked by their razor-sharp beaks. In fact, Vullaby can take any of the bones that you throw it and break them with only 2 pecks. Babies are so adorable, and sometimes they can be a handful. Vullaby is no exception, but raising one is so worth it. And as it gets stronger, it becomes a powerful bird Pokemon. It even becomes a nightmare for your opponents. Well, all babies grow up, and I'd say it's the exact time that we also see Vullaby undergo evolution. So, let's evolve our cute chick Vullaby into Mandibuzz. Wow, look at this bone vulture. If you fight this Pokemon, you better hope that it never comes back. Because when Mandibuzz attacks, you're gonna learn that sticks and stones aren't the only thing that break your bones. Mandibuzz, the bone vulture Pokemon, is based on an old world vulture, and it closely resembles lappet-faced vultures as well as white rumpet vultures. Its design also bears a resemblance to the stereotypical barbarians, or cavemen, but in Mandibuzz's case, since they're all female, cave woman. If you want to find Mandibuzz in the wild, try the Badlands, as they love living in desolate places like the desert. However, they also live in canyons. They like to make their nests in the rocks as well as bare trees. Usually, they go after weak Pokemon, but the Pokemon that Mandibuzz really like to enjoy on that live in the areas are Cubone. In the olden days, Mandibuzz was seen as bad luck, very similar to that of Murkrow and Honchkrow. Mandibuzz were regarded as bad omens to travelers, as they were seen as the omens of death. The sight of Mandibuzz flying overhead in the barren wasteland was a harrowing symbol for tired travelers, indicating the end was near. When they hunt, Mandibuzz use their crazy keen senses to their advantage. Not only does it have an amazing sense of sight that it can see at least a mile in front of it, but they also have an enhanced sense of smell, where they can locate weakened or even smell if their prey is sick. Sometimes, these Pokemon can even smell rotting flesh over 3 miles away. The beak of Mandibuzz is like a drill. With just a single peck, not only can Mandibuzz break through the skin of both human and Pokemon when it pecks, but its pecking can also shatter bones. In fact, even the strongest bones, when hit by Mandibuzz's beak, will crack in half like an egg. The feet of Mandibuzz are also just as strong, as they can lift a lot of weight. Also, you just might want to avoid the nails, because once they scratch you, they can leave a terrible infection. But when Mandibuzz hunt or in battle, they use their feet not just to fight, but also dislocate bones in other Pokemon's bodies. Being a bone collector, Mandibuzz makes its nests out of the bones it finds and collects. They also fashion their own armors out of these bone collections. There seems to be a fashion trend going on among them, as different bones come into and fall out of popularity. The bones that Mandibuzz finds and collects aren't only used for battle, and not only used for nests. They also adorn themselves beautifully with these bones. Mandibuzz always use these bones to their advantage to attract a mate. Sadly, no male Mandibuzz have ever been found. But, on a good note, this usually works for attracting other male bird Pokemon. You may notice that Mandibuzz has a beautiful coat. These coats worn by Mandibuzz are extremely heavy, and they can live in any weather as well as any climate. Whether it be the hottest day or even the coldest one, Mandibuzz can survive no matter what. Despite their violent nature, Mandibuzz have hidden sweetness. If it finds an abandoned or lost Vullaby, Mandibuzz's motherly instincts kick in, and it will take it under its wing and care for them until they're ready to leave the nest. One of the most amazing things about Mandibuzz as well as Vullaby is that both these Pokemon have abnormally strong stomach acid that allow them to consume rotting flesh without becoming ill. In fact, if their prey was sick and passed away and still has the disease, the stomach acid will melt it like nothing. Even something poison will be dissolved immediately once it hits the stomach. Vullaby and Mandibuzz sure are some violent Pokemon. Those bones they wear around them sure tell crazy stories. They have a lot of amazing things going for them. So let's talk on more about things that I didn't quite cover about them. So here are some fun facts and tidbits about our fellow vulture Pokemon. If you look very carefully at the designs for both Mandibuzz and Vullaby, you'll see that they both wear different parts of the skull as clothing. Vullaby wears the skull as a diaper, while Mandibuzz wears the jawbone like an apron. Despite several Pokédex entries claiming that Vullaby is incapable of flight, it can learn Fly by HM and TM. In all the Gen 5 games, Mandibuzz was not used by a single trainer in the Unova region. As a result, in order for you to register this Pokemon to your Pokedex, you must evolve Vullaby yourself, get a Mandibuzz through trade, or get it on Route 4 in Black 2. Both Vullaby and Mandibuzz are currently the only Dark-type Pokemon with an 100% female gender ratio to date. For the abilities of Mandibuzz and Vullaby, they can have big pecs. With those powerful beaks and stance, nothing can lower their defenses in any way. However, they can also have the ability Overcoat. Those feathers aren't just for show, as their overcoat protects these Pokemon from any damage by the weather. And for those of you who like to battle competitively using hidden abilities, both these Vulture Pokemon have the hidden ability Weak Armor, which lowers their defenses whenever hit by a physical attack, but powers up their speed. Vullaby and Mandibuzz are seen as the counterparts to Rufflet and Braviary, as both Rufflet and Vullaby evolve into their next evolutions at level 54. Mandibuzz and Braviary share the exact same base stat total of 510. Every one of them is flying type. Mandibuzz and Vullaby are exclusive to Black, Black 2, Moon, Ultra Moon, and Shield, while Braviary and Rufflet are exclusive to White, White 2, Sun, Ultra Sun, and Sword. Also, Mandibuzz and Vullaby can only be female, while Braviary and Rufflet can only be male. And to top it all off, these lines are also based on different eras of America, with Mandibuzz and Vullaby being inspired by prehistoric Americans, while Braviary and Rufflet are inspired by Native Americans. With all the bones that Vullaby and Mandibuzz wear and collect, they look like an unstoppable duo, especially with that killer fighting instinct. When these Pokemon fight, they peck out the bones of their opponent and keep them as trophies. However, both Mandibuzz and Vullaby, being dark and flying type, have their weaknesses.
When they go into battle, like almost all other Pokemon, they have things that they can't stand. If you send them out or you go against them, they're weak to moves which are Ice type, Rock type, Electric type, and Fairy type as of Gen 6. Even with all 4 of those weaknesses, both Vullaby and Mandibuzz will not be defeated so easily, as these Pokemon live for revenge. And with their dual typing of Dark and Flying, they're really violent bird Pokemon, as when they get stabbed for their moves, they can be a nightmare when they have super effective moves against Pokemon who are Grass type, Psychic type, Ghost type, Bug type, and Fighting type. What a comeback with 5 strengths! Mandibuzz and Vullaby don't have those bones for nothing, as they can be a real danger to both humans and Pokemon alike. However, we're still not done, as both Vullaby and Mandibuzz have immunities, all thanks to their dual typing. Because they're Dark type, both Mandibuzz and Vullaby are completely immune to Psychic type moves, as their darkness blots out the light. Also, with their Flying type, they won't be able to be hit by any kind of ground type moves, as they fly ever higher. For Vullaby and Mandibuzz, they take their opponent sky high into the darkness. Looking back, while I may not have loved Vullaby and Mandibuzz at first, I'm honestly astonished that there wasn't a single NPC in any of the Gen 5 games who used either of them on their team. But what also astonishes me the most about these Pokemon is that with how many Dark-type experts we have, not a single one of them uses these Pokemon for any team. If there was a Pokemon line I felt was really underused from Gen 5, it just might be Vullaby and Mandibuzz. It's crazy to think that out of all 150 new Pokemon we got in Gen 5, these were the ones that really didn't play that big a part. Sometimes the weirdest Pokemon can also have the coolest facts and even the most amazing skills that we don't know about. Mandibuzz and Vullaby are no exception. Not only do these Pokemon have great skills when it comes to making bone armor, they have the ability to survive in the harshest places and even survive the impossible. They don't just have that great HP and defense stats for nothing. For 2 scavenger Pokemon, Vullaby and Mandibuzz are amazing, and I'm glad that all these years later, they helped me change my mind for the better. While they may scavenge and eat what remains, all Pokemon play a vital role in the circle of life and death, just like Vullaby and Mandibuzz. I'd say that with how much I really like this line, if I was a Dark type or even a Flying type gym leader, I'd gladly keep these Pokemon on a spot for my team. Sometimes the most unexpected Pokemon can be the most powerful and even the deadliest of foes. As a person fascinated by bones, I'm happy that I've seen so many Pokemon use them to their advantage. There are some Pokemon who use bones as weapons, and some who even wear them as masks. But I think that the idea of these Pokemon wearing bones as armor is incredible. You can definitely tell that both Mandibuzz and Vullaby really went the extra mile to defend themselves. But if you want to call these Pokemon boneheads, well, you better prepare yourself because they'll have a bone to pick with you. I really enjoyed getting to know our fellow Vulture Pokemon in the Alola region. The journey to evolution was a lot of fun. I'm happy to say that I've learned to love and appreciate Vullaby and Mandibuzz, bones and all.
Dust off there, dust off there. Oh, hello again, trainers. Welcome back. Did you enjoy going bone collecting with our fellow bone vultures? Also, how were the Badlands? I hope that you drank plenty of water. It is hot out there. But before we end this, I just have a few questions for all of you. Since I happen to not like Mandibuzz and Vullaby at first, but as time's gone on, my tune has changed towards them. Who's a Pokemon you didn't like at first, and your tune changed to them as soon as you got to know them better? As a bird lover, we've had a lot of bird Pokemon introduced all over the years. I'm just curious, trainers, who is your favorite bird Pokemon as well as favorite bird Pokemon line? Also, what's the best typing that's been used for a bird Pokemon? Since both Vullaby and Mandibuzz have never been used by a Dark type expert or even a Flying type expert, who do you think that they would be great for a team for? Do you think that we should have them be on someone's team in Generation 10, or is it okay that they've never been? We've had a lot of Dark type Pokemon introduced over the years. Who do you think is the strongest Dark type Pokemon out there? Also, what's the best Dark type move that you can teach any Dark type Pokemon? So, are you a fan of both Mandibuzz and Vullaby? Did I change your perspective on them? Or are these Pokemon that you'll look at and maybe still pass by? But whatever the case is, if you liked what you saw, please leave a like. If you have any questions, you want to answer any of the questions that I just threw at you, you want me to turn an idea of yours into a video, or you want me to cover another Pokemon line or something going on in the current events of Pokemon, then please comment. And as always, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, smash the subscribe button. And as a Pokemon professor, it's my job to teach trainers like you out there. If you know anyone out there who would like these videos, then please feel free to share them. Thanks for watching, trainers. Palm out.